Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to GB Gaming. Today we are going to be taking another look at SGI, Stargate Invasion. I can't wait for this. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while now. I did a spotlight a little while ago, as you know, on, well, these guys here, the humans, the Tari. And I was really impressed with what I saw. I was really pleased with the progress that's been made on the mod. But it turns out it was a little bit premature. Now, the mod developers, including Dot, did come back to me after I'd produced the first video and said, "Oh, girl, we wish you'd done it a little bit later. We weren't quite ready yet. Could you give us a little bit more time, and then we'll be more than happy for you to show off what we've got." And I was a little bit devastated as a mod developer myself. I know what it's like to have something that you're not satisfied with as a developer shown off. So I do feel terrible about that, and I'd just like to convey my apologies for jumping the gun a little bit. But on the upside of things, Dot's come back to me over the past couple of days, and he said, feel free to go ahead and take a look at the Asurans. Now, he stated that, and I should probably make this very, very clear, it's not 100% done. It's very much a work in progress, as the entire mod is at this point. They're not satisfied, they're not finished, and they're still plugging away as a development team for that full completion, but it's not there yet. But they do want to show you, the community, what they've got so far. So without further ado, let's just click the single player button, and we're going to go for a new game very briefly, and let's take a look at this magnificent menu. I love the music in the background, love that Stargate. I think I've mentioned before that I do really like this menu with the little chevrons. Anyway, back to what we were doing. And if we want to choose our race, look at this, isn't that beautiful? I don't think I showed this off in the last episode. I may have done. And my apologies if I'm wrong, but we've shown off the Tari before, as you know. But let's just go through this list. Now, I'm not going to speculate about anything. That's something that Dot's suggested that I don't do too much of, because I might well be wrong. But let's take a look at the races that there will be in the future. You can see that the Goa'uld are going to be back in. Now, many moons ago, SGI did release a version where the Goa'uld were present, but they went back to the basic building blocks after that, and they're in the process of rebuilding, streamlining, and making the whole thing better. So the Goa'uld aren't back in quite yet, but they are going to be in. It's exciting. I really like this menu. Let's pop to the next one. A Wraith, you will feed us. Oh dear. They're still disabled at the moment, as you can see. Now, you can see what's coming up next, can't you? Which has got me excited. I didn't know this was going to be a thing. But yes, the Wraith will be in the future. The Asgard. Now, the Asgard are currently disabled themselves as well. But you can see there's... Oh, I think these are primarily, actually, the ships that we're going to be looking at later. But the Asgard are going to be in. And they are indeed the Asgard. That's going to be really, really cool. When development starts in earnest on the Asgard, I'm going to get super duper excited. But today we are looking at the in-development Asurans. Now, the Asurans are... they model themselves on the Ancients, but they're, in fact, effectively replicators to all intents and purposes. And yes, this entire menu looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm delighted about this menu. I think it looks great. I think they've done hard work on this. They've got really good pictures of each of the characters as well to indicate what race it is. But let's just press escape and come out of this, because I've prepared us a sneak peek, if you will. There you go, SGI Azurin, Azurin reveal. So let's load this map up and see we're facing off against the Tari, but that's immaterial for this brief episode. Okay, let's very quickly pause the game. Now you can see that there's quite a bit going on in this star system already, and that's because I've used developer mode in order to, well, effectively build one of everything. I've built several of some things in order to give us the research that we need. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at some of the models and buildings, etc. And then perhaps we'll send a couple of ships off into the next gravity well along so they can do a little bit of brief fighting. So what we're going to do is we'll just click on the planet itself and take a look at the logistics structures. Now we should have at least one of each of these, which is going to be really nice to look at. So first and foremost, we're going to zoom in on... Okay, that hasn't been done yet, but we will take a look at the combat and civics laboratories first. Some textures haven't been done yet, this is one of them, but they are very much working on them, and when we look at the ships in a little while, you're going to be really impressed with the textures that they have done, and I can't wait to see this, if you'll excuse the pun, replicated on the other models. So this is the combat laboratory. It certainly looks very Azurin, which is really good. It's very, very nice, and we're going to have the civilian laboratory over here. Once again, it looks like a little pop-out section of Atlantis almost, doesn't it, with the little spires. So it's taken the right materials and the right styles in order to make this station, which we like. We should probably take a look at the constructors as well for ships. This is your frigate assembly plant. Once again, it's got that overall kind of Azurin style, both the triangular and the circular towers, and that almost ribbed design. Really, really nice. And the capital shipyard, which is a beast. You can see this is really, really big. Yeah, I do love it. Once again, these aren't quite textured yet, but they will be in the future. Now, what else do we have to look at? We've got a resource distribution node. Now, I don't know where I put all of these things, so you'll have to forgive me while I try and find them all. Here's the resource distribution node. That's a nice simple spire in space. That's the commerce station, effectively. And you can see that they've got their little freighters here, which are really cool. It looks like they've got really big windows, so you can just imagine a guy strolling up and down there, looking out upon the stars, having a great time, until the Wraith show up at least. And do ignore all the debris here, that was me messing around. There is also a refinery, but that... where is the refinery? Here it is, which is also very, very similar. The Culture Center hasn't had a new model yet. I believe this is the stock model, but that's going to come in time. And there was one more thing, was there? No, I think we've got them all. That's all that we have for the logistic structures. Now, moving on, there are absolutely loads of defensive structures. So let's take a look at orbital beam defense first. This is where things get beautifully exciting. This model, I think, is going to be super duper cool. I really like that that design. You can tell it's almost designed to close up when not in use and then open up and just fire this devastating beam out of it. Awesome stuff. We also have a hangar defense model, which I'm sure I'll be able to find at some point. Nope. Be nice if I put things in a more ordered way, wouldn't it, really? I really thought I was doing so at the time. Once again, very Atlantean or Azurin or ancient or whatever you want to call it in design. Once that's textured, it's going to look great. Let's just see what kind of things it can have. You can see it's got a phasic trap, which does disable certain things. Traps enemy strike craft, so they can't be used. That's very, very useful. And it's also got... puddle jumpers and bombers, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. We're not quite ready to do so yet. Right, back to the differing buildings that you have. The next thing that we have is a repair platform. This is textured. As you can see, a gorgeous texture. I really like this as a texture. It's got those lovely little red undertones, and it's almost a dusted bronze and a dusted iron effect for the Azurin vessels, which is gorgeous. So there's your repair? Yes, your repair platform. Now, if I do have to drag my mouse a little bit here, because there is one that's very difficult to find. There we go. This is the shield generator, which is... Here it is. There's your shield generator, and that generates a planetary shield. Now, as you can see, the planet is enveloped in a big shield here. It doesn't look like that prior to putting this down, but once it goes down, does it actually tell you how much shielding it's got? It doesn't specifically from what I can see, but I think it's probably fairly good. Oh, it just absorbs 30% of bombing damage, which is absolutely fantastic, actually. Next on the line, do we have a hyperspace destabilizer anywhere, hiding in amongst everything that I've built? Well, I thought I built one of those. Could that be over there? No, that's the orbital drone platform. Do you know, I was absolutely convinced that I built one of these. Perhaps I'll be able to find it in here. Shield generator. Maybe I didn't build one. It's very disappointing, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But there we are. It does say there's one. I'm never going to find it. Absolutely never going to find it. Resource distribution, culture center. It doesn't seem to be visible in the menu, which is a shame because I really wanted to show that off for you. But we'll find it at some point and we will show it off. Just for the sake of continuing the video, we have the Lagrangian satellites. This is, I think this is very much like the battle station that Rodney tried to fix, but ultimately it broke, allowing the Wraith through on their way to Atlantis. You've got that beam. Look at that. Look at the amount of damage it does. That could kill a Titan. Fires the Lagrangian beam, one of the most devastating weapons created during the Ancients' war with the Wraith. Nice. And they're, I think they were quite expensive to build. There you go. Yeah, pretty expensive. Cost 2,777 credits. Moving on, we have a Stargate, which serves a fairly obvious purpose, I imagine. It's one of these Stargates in space. You can see it's got the little thrusters on the edges. I love the fact that they've bothered doing that. That's something that they didn't have to do, but they have. I presume this operates as a phase lane. Yes, it does. Phase stabilizer node. So in the stock game, that's going to, any other planetoid that's got a Stargate around it, it's going to allow your fleet to move straight there rather than having to go down the phase lanes. That's going to be great for the Asurans. It's going to mean that they can move their fleets around so freely. So do be aware, ladies and gentlemen, that that is a possibility. Next on the list is the Titan Yard, which looks fantastic. You can see what it's designed to do. In fact, you can see the Titans there in the background, but we'll come back to them later on. Don't look at them. So yes, here's the Titan Yard. It's quite an extensive structure. It's got a really large footprint. Like, you can see it from such a great distance away. And last on the list, we've got the orbital drone platform, which this just deploys an absolute butt ton of drones. Once again, not textured yet, but looking forward to that with the Azurin plating and everything. You can see it's actually got some modelled in detail. If I just if I get myself into a nice lighting position, look at that, there you go. You can see the modelled in detail here, so that's going to look really good. And then these little pods here, and I presume that's where the drones pour out of and saturate your enemies. All excellent stuff so far. The music in the background is... I'm not sure if this is actually Stargate music going on right now, but it is unique music. It's fresh, it's new, it's different, which I like. Moving on to some of the ships. We're going to start with, effectively, utility ships here. This is your construction drone. It's almost like a little mini Atlantis that, you know, that Bob and Jim live on by themselves. So this is what you use to construct things. Oh, no, this is an envoy. This is your envoy. Where are your construction drones, then? There you go, there's your construction drone, my apologies. So these little fellows, they construct things. They look a little bit like the puddle jumpers, but they've got a little bit more capacity. A bit more oomph. Right, back to the other utilities. We've just had a look at the envoy that Bob and Jim live in, apparently. And you've also got your colonizer, which is the seeding ship from Stargate Universe. I always thought this seeding ship was actually more attractive in a lot of ways than the Destiny. I don't know what you guys think of that. Tell me in the comments about what you think. You can see that, incidentally, this has been beautifully textured. I really like the textures on that, and I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of the same on some of the other ships. Moving on to frigates. Now you can see this little fellow here is quite an interesting one. It's a this makes a temporary space gate, the Gate Satellite Siege class. So that's really interesting. It creates a phase stabilizer node wherever it is. It's a that perhaps should have gone with the utility ships, but there we are. Right, frigates themselves. We have the Ogun anti-fighter class. Now this is where the textured ships really start showing. God, they're gorgeous, aren't they? They really start showing their own, and they show just like the quality and depth of the textures that they're attempting for the Asurans. So this is your anti-fighter class, fairly standard ship. It's got anti-fighter frenzy and reintegration, which enters a repair cycle. Really nice. Reintegration, of course, would be a replicator thing. We have the Ceres Light class. I think this is your basic frigate. Do correct me if I'm wrong, if you're one of the developers. So there you go, you've got the Ceres Light class, and it's also got reintegration. Now, it does disable the ship when it's reintegrating, but it repairs its hull, so again, quite a major benefit for the Asurans, and it's got interference, so a little bit of a virus on the go there. Next on the list, we have the long-range frigate, which is presumably a missile frigate. Yes, it is, phase missile damage. Got a gravity distortion field and charged drones. Really nice. And there's actually a direct upkeep. Do all these ships have this? Ooh, now this is interesting. This looks like it's a either a unique or a semi-unique, I suppose you'd call it, aspect to this particular mod. All ships appear to drain upkeep directly. So you can see it takes a little bit of resources and credits away per second. The more ships that you have, the more of your resources are drained directly. So it's not just done via research and fleet logistics. It is done directly via the ship. So the more ships you have, the more damaging it is to your economy. That's a really, really good feature. That's a feature that should be in the base game, but quite patently isn't. There's just a direct drain that you have from the research. That's so good, and hats off to this team for having that in there. I think that's going to make for more interesting and engaging gameplay, because you're going to have to consider what ships that you build and why you build them. And it means you're not going to get a massive blob fleet. And by the same token, your enemies aren't going to be able to do the same. And then we've got the Nemesis Corvette class, which is quite a large corvette. But once again, absolutely beautifully modelled, quite clearly ancient in design. They've got these kind of bulbous front sections, most of them, and their little spiky, stubby arms. But yeah, I love this design. What have we got there? Azurin Drone Frenzy, and well, there's something that channels power from somewhere. Unfortunately, I can't see it because it's off the edge. Let's just see. 1.2 credits a second it takes away, and 0.6 resources, whereas the little one takes significantly less. There you go. They've all got different values as well, so this is some real thought's been put into this. Moving on to the cruisers, which are, by and large, significantly larger. We'll take a look at the Typhon class here. We can see that this is a utility/mine layer. I think primarily this is intended as a mine layer because it doesn't do a great deal of damage, considering the fact that it's a cruiser. I really like it. You can see that the mines are supposed to be deployed out of here, going bloop. I haven't actually got any mines, sadly, but I will perhaps produce some of those shortly. Moving onwards, we have the Virago class, which seems to do a great deal of damage. Let's see what kind of abilities are on the go here. Disable teleportation, engage cloak. Ooh, this one can hide. Hollow program projection and reintegration, which is a standard across a lot of the ships. This looks almost like it's a utility cruiser. So this is I'd call it also almost an ECM cruiser. So it's designed to either disable or otherwise cut the effectiveness of your enemy, and it can cloak as well, so it can engage in these dirty, stealthy, naughty little attacks. I'm going to take a quick look at the fighters while we're over here, or I should say puddle jumpers. There's your puddle jumpers, and those are your bombers. The bombers look a lot like, now you can tell me if this is a cannon vessel. I don't know if it is. I can't ever remember seeing it in in Stargate at all, in any of the Stargate productions, but it does bear a certain similarity to the shuttles, if you like, from the Destiny. So I wonder if it's inspired by that. If you're one of the developers, as always, let me know. Tell me. Moving on to other cruisers, we've got two more. We'll look at this beautiful one here first, which is the Kalos or Salus Carrier class. And it does exactly what it says on the tin. It has a brace of fighters and does a very, very reasonable amount of damage. So I think that's going to be a really good staple ship to have. Yep, gorgeous all around. I love it. And last but not least, last but one in the cruiser class, we have the Kraos class. This has got 3 different types of weapons rather than the 2 that the carrier has. So I'd suggest that this is a straight damage dealer. Let's take a look. Slow enemy hyperspace. Oh, it does have a bit of utility as well. Hyperspace sensors. Oh, this is a utility 2 ship. Then this is designed to hold up the enemy and detect them primarily. And then we've got that reactive nanite armor, which is going to make your local ships a little bit tougher. And we have the Atropos class. Average wave damage. Ooh, interesting. So we've got the this is a drone ship that's designed for straight up damage. And once again, we've got a gravity field, which creates gravity fields powerful enough to slow enemy ships. That's going to hold enemy ships in battle and make sure that they can't escape. Nice. And it's clearly a missile boat, if you will. Well, when I say missile, I mean drone. It's a drone boat. Moving on to the ships that you really want to see. The cap ships. The cap ships. First and foremost, now some of these are textured and some aren't, I should point out, with the cap ships. The ones that aren't, you'll know. You've seen some of the beautiful textures that the Azuran ships have. So if they don't have the textures yet and they just have the base texture applied like this one, do be rest assured that the texture will be improved over time. So here we have the Destiny. You'll all recognise that from Stargate Universe. Do have a discussion in the comments as to whether you like Stargate Universe. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really liked it personally. I thought it was... I don't know, I thought it brought a more human element to Stargate that was perhaps lacking. Well, not lacking, that's not fair. It wasn't lacking, but it took a much longer time to develop. Particularly in SG-1, but also in Atlantis. You felt like the characters were sometimes a little wooden and two-dimensional. They were there for a role rather than being a full functioning individual with quirks, problems, and redeeming features. In the later seasons, of course, you'd got to know the characters and you'd seen some of the difficulties, but this did it much more quickly, and there was a lot more drama and strife. I liked that trapped feel. Moving on from the Destiny, which is a colonizer, as you can see, and it also does a bit of nano disassembling. We will go to the... I'm trying to go through ones that are canon that you might well know of. The Orion is the next one, which I'm sure you all know what the Orion is. This one features fairly prominently in some episodes, in some very good Atlantis episodes, and this is a straight-up battleship. It's there to kill. And it can replicate its own forces as well by virtue of the fact that it's an Azurin version. Yeah, oh God, look at the damage. It does 310 and 334. That is a lot of damage. Now, this fine fellow here is textured. Now, I think this is a canon design, but I'm not 100% sure. It is an ancient design, if you will. So this is copied by the Asurans from an ancient design. It's an Alastor carrier class. Says what it is. It is indeed a carrier class. Let's just see how many. You can get 6 different fighters in this, so that's going to be quite useful to you. Once again, gorgeous, really well textured, looks beautiful, looks sleek, looks dangerous, looks menacing. Give it to me. Maybe I'm getting a bit overexcited by these ships. And we have the Origin support class. And this particular ship, I presume it's got some nice abilities on here. We've got, it can cloak, it can subvert the enemy, it can deploy a space gate. Oh, that's quite interesting. So it could warp into a system, deploy a phase gate, and then you could bring all your other forces in. So that's quite a good vanguard there. Now we have 2 more capital ships, and I think both of these are Azurin designs rather than ancient designs. So they've taken the ancient philosophy of shipbuilding and they've improved upon it. First, we've got the Romulus Destroyer class, which, God, this looks mean, doesn't it? It looks like it's going to kill you. You can see it's got a great deal of missile damage, so I'm going to assume that a lot of the stuff going on here are missile pods ready to fire at the enemy. And in addition to that, it's got some standard damage as well. Let's take a look. We've got the Azurin Drone Frenzy, Cloak, Replicate Forces, and Nonite Slugs. So that's going to be a powerful ship. 444 phase missile damage, or drone damage. Now, the biggest of the bunch when it comes to the capital ships is this, the Antius Besieger class. I presume this is tooled for planetary bombardment, but it's a beast. Average wave damage 593, 529 for beams. This is a slugger. This is a close range slugger, and it's so very powerful. Really love this design. This looks so dangerous. I wouldn't like to meet that on a Dark Knight. It reminds me of, or at least the front of it, I should say. This little section here. It reminds me of something from Dreadnought almost, in the way that it looks. But it's still quite clearly got the base elements of ancient design in there. So they've done really, really well to make a fresh and unique ship while still maintaining the overall design philosophy of a lot of the ancient ships. Now, this is the last thing we're going to look at before we send a couple of ships out to have a fight. The Titans. The Titans. Now the first needs no introduction. It's Atlantis itself. So here you have it. Rather unsurprisingly, this is Atlantis. You all know what it is. You all know what it does. It can replicate certain frigates. It's got drone frenzy. It's got a wormhole drive, which allows it to immediately jump a short distance, and you can have a ZPM as well, which unleashes its full power. Really powerful Titan. Will last a long time in battle. We like it. We like that. And also it's got a bunch of fighters as well, as you know. Now, this that's focused on defense, so this can defend itself. It can last a long time in battle. This fine fellow here is all about offense. Do bear in mind that some of the stats that are in the bottom right hand corner, they're probably subject to change. I don't know if it's all balanced yet. I haven't asked the developers whether it's all balanced and these are all final values. I really don't know if they are. But yes, here we have the Epheus class Titan. You can tell it follows the same design philosophy as Atlantis, having a similar core, but it's beefier. This thing is probably designed to move more freely in space travel, I would expect, and it's also designed as an offensive Titan. So we have replicate laser turrets, so you can pop into an enemy system and pop your laser turret down. It can do its thing, and it's got a Lagrangian. It's got a beam. It's got a really, really powerful beam that does an absolute ton of damage. And then you have the matter bridge as well. Energy is siphoned from alternative universes and combined with a ZPM to make it even more powerful. Ultimate power. One thing I do want to do while we're here looking at this ship is if I just go to effects and change the deep space skyboxes, you can see that it has a pretty major effect on the overall way that this ship looks. Because of the way that the lighting or these sections work, these shiny sections, they actually reflect the background. So you'll find that dependent on your lighting, you can really make this Titan look the way that you want it to. And the way that you change your lighting is use coloured skyboxes, just toggle it off and on a couple of times, and you'll probably find something that you like. I really like this one, where it turns the whole thing into this psychedelic blue, beautiful, gorgeous thing. This was my favourite lighting. In fact, I intended to use this lighting for the entire video, but I forgot to do it because I'm a bit of a pillock like that. So I think we should probably send a couple of these guys out just to have a quick fight before the end of the episode. I think the ones I don't know what I'm going to choose. So let's take this one. We'll unpause,
A clever plan.
Move this guy over there. We will choose
Don't
the Alastor.
me.
Let's take that
I await your
Corvette.
command.
And it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? We'll take this massive Titan. That's all we're going to take. We don't need all the ships there. They'll just be bouncing off each other and causing themselves problems. In fact, what we might do is we might send the Titan by itself to that gravity well, and these ships can come to this one.
Absolutely.
Now, as I will repeat this one more time. It's very much a work in progress at the moment, so you're probably hearing some Vasari voices. That's all set to change in the future.
Initiated.
The jump sequence has initiated and the ships are going in. Let's follow them into battle. Oh, there go the drones. Blimey. Wow. Really good sounds on the drones. In fact, I don't think that's going to last much longer either, is it? I think if you're playing as the Tari, you are absolutely, positively going to need more. Look at those plasma rounds going out. I quite like the fact that they seem to be not randomly aimed, but they seem to be aimed a little bit more haphazardly, therefore making it look like they're just firing and hoping for the best. Right, let's watch this guy do his thing.
Awaiting new prey.
May as well have a couple of fighters and bombers. Alright, buddy, do it. Show me what you got. Whoa! Love the way they raise up and then curl back down. That's super cool. Seems like a really organic and fluid motion where a lot of I have seen other mods where where missiles will go directly upwards and then start to target their enemy, but these look fluid, they look organic, they look more advanced because of the way that they move. But there we go, that's all we've got time for in this episode. I'm not quite ready to do a Let's Play on SGI yet. I want to give it a bit more time to allow the developers just a smidge more time to get a couple more bits and bobs done. And once they give me the go-ahead, once Doc gives me the nod and says, okay, we've got a release candidate for both the Asurans and the Tari, I'll do a Let's Play then. But this is just the opportunity to show you off the work in progress and the fantastic work that's gone into the Asurans. There will be more to follow in the future, as I'm sure you expect. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, the link to the mod is in the description below, as it should be. Please do click on that link and give the mod developers some love for the work that they've done. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Gul, out.